Yeah, season 3, Mr. Z and Fifth with your host, the Fifth General, and Zacchaeus. What's going on?
Hey, what's good? What's good? Good to be here for sure.
Yeah, we back, man. This is the month of February. You know what I'm saying? 2021. We in a new year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Blessed love. Yeah.
So,
thank you so much. Blessings, brethren.
Yeah. So tonight's topic, we're gonna be talking about the
Fred Hampton.
We're gonna talk about Fred Hampton in the movie Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna talk about this bio. I let's just call it like a biopic documentary movie. Not from the perspective of Fred Hampton, but from the perspective of the FBI informant,
O'Neill.
Yeah,
William O'Neill.
William O'Neill. So,
yeah.
This is a tough one, because historically, what we know about what happened was a disgrace. I'll look at the movie for face value. What we'll do is we'll grade the movie for face value. We will break down historical facts about Fred Hampton and that situation, and we'll try to make the show informative and entertaining at the same time. Zacchaeus, I'm gonna let you start it off, man. Let's get into the real deal about Fred Hampton Jr. Who he is for people who don't know. That movie doesn't give you everything of who he is, but just break it down for the audience.
Okay, well, this is what I want to say first.
Yeah.
Happy Black History Month to those out there that's listening to us. Happy Black History Month.
Yeah. And
I'm just so happy that we can reflect on this young brother, Fred Hampton.
Yeah.
Because you see, in the late 60s and 70s, the Black Panther Party was still going. Mm-hmm. And Fred Hampton was he was the chairman of the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
From under the direction of Bobby Seale. Mm-hmm. Big up to Bobby Seale.
UEP Newton.
And UEP Newton.
Yeah.
And we just want to reflect on Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was a young man.
Yeah.
A very, very young man. I mean, a young man like 19 and 20 years old. Mm-hmm. Taking on he was very boisterous. Mm-hmm. You see, in 1967, 1968, he was very boisterous and expressing himself. He seen the injustice of police brutality in the community in Chicago, where he grew up. Yeah. Where he was born and where he come from. Chicago is where they had a lot of police brutality against not only but young, poor, young black people in the community, but also Hispanics, also young, poor whites in the community.
Yeah. And
what was so great about Fred Hampton is that he stood out. He was bold enough to speak on it and get up on a podium and speak about the injustices that was going on in the communities in Chicago at that moment, at that time. So as young Fred Hampton, he had a way of speaking that can gather a whole crowd of people, especially the Black Panther Party, which he was the chairman of the Black Panther Party. And also what he did was, one thing I admire about about Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton basically continued, although Bobby C was going through his trial at the time. Remember Bobby C was going through a trial at the time, where he was also going to court a lot. And Huey Newton was locked up. He was in prison. Yeah. Bobby C and Huey Newton was the head front runners of the creators of the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
And what was so unique about Fred Hampton? Fred Hampton took on the torch at that moment, at that time. He took the torch and he kept on going. He was a spokesman. That's why he was a chairman. He was a spokesman for the Black Panther Party while Bobby C was going through his situation, while Huey Newton was going through being locked up in prison. Fred Hampton spoke in what he did. This is what Fred Hampton did. Fred Hampton went into the gang territories and spoke to the young black gang members. He did bold. He was bold, and he did that. He went to the young. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the late 1960s in Chicago. He went into the gang territories, and he spoken to the gang leaders about uniting and about coming together as one for the and he spoke about revolutionary. If we can band together, we can revolutionize our community. We don't have to stay beaten up by the police or beaten down by the system. We can change the system by uniting together. Also, he also embarked on school lunch. That's one thing that Fred Hampton, the Black Panther Party, spoke on. They school lunch and different health educational program, health education to embed the community. Also, what Fred Hampton did was went into the white community. Now these are poor whites where you see the Confederate flags flying, and they basically the only thing they have going for them is that they're white, but they're poor. They're also beaten up from the system, because remember, around that time was the Vietnam War. Around that time, the Vietnam War was going on. So young Fred Hampton, along with the Panthers, that's under him, Bobby Rush, Mark Clark, they walked into certain communities, and he was bold. I have to admit that. That's the difference with Fred Hampton. He walked into these communities, the Hispanic gang community, Latino Puerto Ricans, and he embraced them too and said, listen, if we could unite together, young whites, Appalachian whites, poor, if we could unite together, we can change the system. We don't have to be apart. And because Fred Hampton did this, he united people. He had a way of speaking to unite people. He was a threat to the FBI. He was a threat to the whole, I would say, like what the Jamaicans say, Babylon system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Fred for his short period of time on this earth, he did a lot. He did a lot for his age. I was impressed by his age. I was impressed by his tenacity. I was impressed by his eagerness to get his love and his eagerness to get the people together, to get people to unite people. And that's what's so unique about Fred. Fred was uniting all genres, all different types of people together.
Right.
And because of this, he was a threat to the white supremacy at the time. Yeah.
Well, and we got to remember, this is after we have to remember this is after Malcolm, right?
Yes.
So
yes. Mm-hmm.
And one of his biggest inspirations from what is reported about him is that Malcolm X is one of the reasons why Fred Hampton is the speaker that he is. You know what I'm saying? He studied Malcolm. And, I don't know about him studying Martin. I don't know, but I do know that he studied Malcolm. And so, as far as being a talker and everything, but you can see, as we know historically from it, and you can see his speeches on videos and stuff like that. He was just talented in that way anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And being inspired from the work that was already done that started in Oakland, California with the original Black Panther members just carried over to Chicago. We got to remember the Black Panthers became a national organization, creating chapters in most metropolitan cities. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
Here's the thing. We got to remember COINTELPRO, right? So let's just say the strength of COINTELPRO. Well, I mean, COINTELPRO is the FBI, right? The FBI, the COINTELPRO was basically the division within the FBI to look at black activism and social activists and monitor them and stuff like that, right? Basically labeling them political terrorists, whatever you want to call it. they're still active today.
Yes.
Okay.
See?
So we gotta remember, because some people are gonna watch the movie, right? And then they didn't think, oh, that was just back then. No, that's happening today. That's happening today.
Yeah.
And you know what? I also want to get into something. So let's segue into the movie. Daniel Kaluuya. How do I say his name?
Daniel Kaluuya. I think Daniel.
Lakeith Stansfield. Let me get their names right, man.
And Dominique Fishback, the woman that played is the chairman, Fred Hampton woman, Dominique Fishback. Let me
get their names right. So we got Daniel Kaluuya. Now, people who have seen him from Get Out, Black Panther, Queen and Slim, just to name a few. Okay, Lakeith Stanfield. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff. I mean, people who watch the show Atlanta, The Photograph, he was also in Get Out as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like you said, the woman who played Fred Hampton's Dominique Fishback. You know what I'm saying?
She been in a few things. She been in
right.
She's been in this movie. She's been in this movie. She's been in a few shows, especially on cable TV.
She's kind of new. She was on that Netflix movie with Jamie Foxx, Project Power, I think the name of it.
Project Power. She's also been on Deuces, The Deuce. She also been on The Deuce.
Right.
With on HBO with
HBO?
Meth was on there too.
Okay.
Method Man was on there too. She been on a few things. She did a few things. Yeah.
Martin Sheen played J. Edgar Hoover.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we have some recognizable faces in this movie. Let me just say, the acting performance was good. A lot of people are crediting Daniel Kaluuya as the top performer of the movie.
Yes.
I actually think that Lakeith, I thought his job was great actually.
My gosh, he played the mess out of it.
And I get it. You know, you have Daniel Kaluuya, who they gave him basically the best person in the movie to play. So I could understand why people are crediting him as the best performer of the movie, because he's basically just depicting Fred Hampton, and Fred Hampton as a person is a powerful person. So to play that role is, people would say that's synonymous with Denzel Washington playing Malcolm. I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's the same performance per se. I will say he did a good job, but I think Lakeith his part stood out, because it's very difficult for the role that he had to play. He had to play somebody who was shiesty. I mean, he had to play. He played a rat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he had a tough role, and he's a great actor, a performer. He has a long career ahead of him, and I wanted them to swap. I felt that Lakeith should have been, when the movie first came out, when the movie was first announced, I was like, why is Daniel Kaluuya playing Fred Hampton? Daniel Kaluuya, he's, no disrespect, but, he's not, he wasn't born, he's not a descendant of a slave. So my thing was, got him playing a role of an African American man. So I was trying to figure out, why did they choose him, but then have Lakeith be the informant? Shouldn't it be the other way around? But as I watched the movie, the reason why Lakeith was the informant is because Lakeith is a better actor than Daniel. So he has to play the role that's the most challenging in that movie, because the star of the movie is William O'Neill's character. because
William O'Neill.
because
Yes,
the
right,
because
right,
the
right.
because the movie is more so based off of his perspective and that interview he had on Eyes on the Prize, and that's where most of this information come. That's where the point of view is coming off of that interview with Eyes on the Prize, and they let you know that when they started the movie. So the movie is basically saying this is the life of him and what the FBI made him do in order to stay out of jail for that crime he committed in that pool hall. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it basically shows the kind of things that they did with anybody, man. There was always an insider. For people who remember the story of Martin Luther King when he was doing the demonstration and a black man pushed him, and they're like, "Well, dang, a black man pushed him." And when they caught that black man said, "Yo, I was paid." So COINTELPRO always used black people to infiltrate, to infiltrate the movement all the time, all the time. They did it with Martin. They did it with Malcolm. They did it with Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton on the Oakland side of the Black Panthers, and they also did it with Fred Hampton, as we see.
Yes. And also way back when, I'm gonna go way back. Marcus Garvey too, when he was trying to build the
Black Star Line
to go back to voyage back to Africa. They used they used informants black to sabotage the voyage back to Africa for Marcus Garvey. I just have to leap in there real quickly because
nah.
It's true.
I'm gonna hand it back to you. You know, the nature of these things is you always use somebody that you can't detect. You know, that's what makes them an agent, because they're able to blend in. You know, if they would if they would have used somebody white to infiltrate the Black Panthers would have caught on. You can't blend in like that, so they used black folks. You know what I'm saying? They use other black people. You know what I'm saying? So go into more of that. Let me get your opinion of the movie, because I basically said what I felt about the movie. Go ahead.
Okay, and some on I like what you said too, because the truth of the matter is the whole concept of the movie was on the betrayer too. Yeah, and so that's what it's called, Judas and the Messiah.
Black Messiah.
No, Black Messiah, meaning that the Black Messiah is Fred Hampton, and
Judas is William
O'Neill.
Yeah.
Well, O'Neill Williams is the Williams O'Neill is the
Judas
informant. Yeah. Judas. So you have to understand that way back then, with Eyes on the Prize came out in 1990. And as a kid, I used to watch Eyes on the Prize as a kid. Yeah. I just was interested in history as a kid. So I used to watch Eyes on the Prize as a kid. So I said to myself, who was this guy talking? I had no idea who he was. Yeah. But not as time went on, and I get to this point in my life, I'm like, that's who he was. He betrayed it because on the interview, in the beginning of the movie, in this interview, he said he had a lot. He said he spoke like he was sure of himself, that he was positive, that he did something positive for the movement. Yeah, and come to find, and then I'm like, oh, he did, okay, but knowing that O'Neill. You know, I could say this. He was caught between a rock and a hard place because remember, William O'Neill was only 19 at that time. 19 years old, committing a lot of crime. 19 years old, robbing people in pool halls. 19-year-old getting into all type of robbery,
carjacking, all that type of
carjacking, all type of stuff. Yeah. He was bullied. He was bullied by the FBI. He was, I would say he was bullied by J. Edgar Hoover. He was bullied by the FBI. So in other words, they threatened him.
His life was
threatened. If he didn't do this, his life was threatened. Yeah. If you don't do this, you're gonna get locked up, serve 5 years in prison.
Shoot. Or we'll kill you.
Or we'll kill you.
Yeah.
So he was caught between a rock and a hard place. It was if he do and damn if he don't.
Yeah.
You know, so he did it but he did it in a way in where it was like I could tell that O'Neal didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that to his own people. He didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But being 19 years old, because remember the movie when the actor when the FBI agent asked him, how do you feel when Dr. King was killed? Well, yeah, Dr. King was. Then he went into Malcolm. How do you feel that when Malcolm was killed? He was like, and then O'Neal answered him and looked at him and answered him and said, yeah, I felt bad. I felt that when Martin was killed. How do you feel when Malcolm was killed? Oh, I didn't feel away. I didn't feel. You're asking a guy he's 19 at the time. Back then, when Martin, that's 1965 when Malcolm was killed. He was a little kid. He was like, he was probably had to be about 5 years earlier. He had to be about 15,
I mean,
14.
He was younger. Yeah.
Younger. Yeah, he was a kid.
Teenager.
You know? A teenager. So ask him that he remembered, but he didn't, but as many as young kids know that when you're young, sometimes you don't really pay attention. You know what I'm saying? So he's asking him these questions. So my point is that he's still a young man at 19, yet he's doing a big job. He's going doing a big man's job for 19 years old. A big man. He's going to do it, and he's infiltrating. Of course, you don't want to betray your people. You don't want to betray your people. But he's caught in this. They got it. It's like the FBI got him in a clutch, and it seemed like he can't get out. So when he was acting like he's done. Of course, if I see another brother coming that look like me, I'm thinking he's done with me. I'm thinking that he's part of the movement too. And he got close. He got close to Fred Hampton. He got close to him. He got close to his. He got close to his. He got close into the movement. He got close with his into a circle. In his inner close circle. So, in a way, it's like this movie to me was about his life. Remember, in this movie he had a bad dream too, that he shot himself. So in that way, it was on Fred Hampton, but it was also built around William O'Neal too.
So let's interpret that dream. That dream is more of a guilty conscience thing. You know what I'm saying? That's why he had that dream. When you know you're doing something wrong, you shouldn't be able to you should be able to have restless nights.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you're doing a bad thing, you shouldn't be able to go to sleep at night at peace. And he didn't have
No, you shouldn't. He had no peace.
He had no peace. And so I'm gonna say something that probably people don't expect for me to say. Because now I'm going to be critical now. I have to be. I think the only reason why this movie saw the light of day is because it's told from the perspective of the informant. Let's keep it real. I think that was the only way to have the money, the financial backing from Hollywood to put this movie out in this type of way, for it to be promoted in this type of way.
Yes,
and it was planned perfectly for the month of February. It was supposed to come out a lot sooner than that, but COVID did that, and they decided, well, you know what? Shoot, we'll just put it out on February. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the only reason why this movie even saw the light of day, had the actors that it had, and had the writers that it had, because the whole thing is, let's put this movie out, but this is how we're gonna do this movie. We're gonna make if there's gonna be a bad guy, we're gonna make sure we put more attention on the brother who's a bad guy, although the real bad guy was the FBI.
Exactly.
And I want people to visually understand the movie, understand the visuals of the movie. The police in that one scene. Okay, for those who haven't seen the movie, leave now. But for those who've seen the movie, continue. There's no spoilers. I mean, it's not really a spoiler. I mean, it's based on true events. You kind of know what happens. But I'm just going to go scene for scene. I'll try to.
Right.
Remember the scene where they were at Fred Hampton's chapter, the headquarters? When Fred Hampton he was locked up at this time, right? They arrested him.
Yes.
So remember when they were all standing outside and they had that standoff with the police?
Yes.
So here's what happened. The police were in front of there. They were saying all types of racist stuff. They had to stand down with the police. They made sure, this is what they did. They made sure that they showed the sister, who's with the Panthers, stick that gun out first.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not, because me personally, I would believe that the police were the aggressors first, not them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because there have been many a times where the police had threw grenades and smoke bombs and fire and a lot of those Black Panther chapters across the United States. You know,
broke windows, just
everything, vandalized everything. And this is the first. This is the first Black Panther. Well, okay, let's say this. I wouldn't say the first, but I would say it's been a long time since we had a movie actually show the Black Panther Party in this way since the movie Panthers in the early 90s with with Kadeem Hardison and Courtney B. Vance and them. Great movie, by the way. Classic movie. Film. So
classic throwback film.
And that was told by Melvin and Mario Van Peebles, if I'm not mistaken. And in that movie, it actually showed chapters of showed what the police did to a lot of the chapters across the nation. The Black Panther chapters, they did all of that. They were the aggressors first, okay. But in this movie, they showed the sister as the aggressor. Now, not the aggressor in the sense that she drew first blood. She didn't. The cop, when they saw Lakeith, William O'Neal's character, go up to the top of the roof, they yelled out "Sniper" and shot.
Right.
So
I remember that. Yeah.
So in the movie, they're trying to say that the police had a logical reason to shoot because they had the gun first pointed at them.
Right.
I don't know how much of that is true, but that's the movie. And then we saw the cop get shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We saw the first one to get taken out was the police officer, right? We saw that, right? So then we saw an actual shootout between the Black Panthers and the cops in that scene. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And, And even though we know who the bad guys were in this story, I felt like they were trying to do it in a way that would justify why the cops responded in the way that they did. Not justifying in the way that the Black Panthers defended themselves in the way that they did. You get what I'm saying here?
Oh yeah, yes, definitely.
And then let's fast forward to the end of the movie because there's only really 2 scenes of this, right? So at the end of the movie, the FBI got the confirmation of the actual outline of the place and where they were staying at. Blueprint.
Yes.
Basically, they know exactly where to go in on the apartment, where Fred Hampton would be sleeping and everything else, right? So that's that situation, right? So so we notice, it's in the dark. It's dark. There's no nothing. Okay. The police became faceless in that scene because it was very dark, so you couldn't see them. And you saw the police just shoot all up in those that place, wall, shoot everything, and then had the nerve to tell them to get up and walk after you done shot them in the legs and body and all that other stuff. Shot exactly. Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton didn't even make it out of his bed. You know what I'm saying?
He was still unconscious from the concoction.
Right, shot him. Now, according to the interview on Eyes on the Prize, not by William O'Neill, but by someone else, is that that the police, when Fred Hampton was bleeding, that he actually wasn't dead yet, that they actually ran up on him and shot him point blank range. Now, that I never knew. I never knew that until watching this movie. I didn't know that they went in there to finish off the job. I have heard all these years that they just shot him through the walls, and by the time they discovered his body, he was already dead. But it seems like they went in there and finished off the job.
They did. I didn't know that either until I watched this movie.
Right, right. So the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because a lot of these movies, when they do a movie on anything that links to Black history, they like to do two things: put in a white savior, quote unquote white savior, or try to lessen the blow of what really happened in terms of white supremacy being the main enemy in this situation.
Yeah.
So, they like to tamper it a little bit. So I felt like they tried to do that in the beginning. And I also felt like what they were trying to say was, what they were trying to do, because there also was another shooting in that movie where they show one of the brothers run up in the store while we saw brothers getting held up, and he fired the first shot at the police, and then the police shot at him, and he was wounded, but he didn't die. But then when he was in the hospital, hold on, let me get his name, and I'm gonna give it to you, Zacchaeus. I'm sorry, I just wanted to give a run through on why I felt.
It's okay.
Yeah. So the brother who shot, he was in the hospital. They later on killed him because that's revenge. So I felt like what the movie was trying to tell me was, well, the police ran up in there to kill Fred Hampton and all that, because their whole thing is, we're getting revenge on the Panthers when Fred Hampton never fired one shot. But because he is the influence, they had to take him out, and the excuse was somebody in his camp shot one of ours, so we got to go in there and finish the job.
Yes.
So that's why I think this movie saw the light of day, because if it didn't show that, then it would just show white supremacy as being the main. Here's the thing: these are police, right? So they want to make sure that there's a distinction between police and white supremacy.
Yes.
What they fail to show in movies is that the infiltration of white supremacy runs the entire police nation. They don't want to show that, because that's what's really happening. And you know what? For those who want to see a movie that keeps it more realer than Judas and the Black Messiah, in terms of white supremacy in the police department, and how white supremacy has protected the police department, and the police department run on the code of white supremacy, priority number one, even when they bring in black people and other people into the police force. If you guys want to see a movie that keeps it more real than Judas and the Black Messiah, in terms of the influence of white supremacy and the police force basically being the same thing, go watch that movie that came out. It's on demand on platforms everywhere. It's called American Skin, and the actor is Nate Parker. That movie came out about 2 weeks ago, I think.
Nate Parker, The American Skin.
Yep, American Skin. If you want to see American Skin, gives you a better outlook on modern day, from the back, modern day, how the police still the police and the justice system run on the code of white supremacy. And people say, Jason, Fifth, how you know that? I tell you how. Because white supremacy started the police. Google it. The first police was slave patrol.
Yes.
Well, Fifth, why you say that about the court system? Well, because when the courts were being invented, they were invented by white supremacists to protect white supremacy. So that's why they go hand in hand. This is why stuff happens on the police side, and then on the justice side, they say not guilty. Because
facts. Go look it up, y'all. Go look it up. Facts. I just bring it in to say that.
because the blue wall of silence is the white wall of silence. The white wall of silence is gave birth to the blue wall of silence. Hello. Zacchaeus, take it away. I'm sorry.
No. You see, going into the whole perspective of the police shooting at the Black Panthers headquarters and chapters around the country, is an indication of white supremacy always justifying the right to do what they do. Because let me tell you something, the Black Panther Party,
they never destroyed Ku Klux. They never destroyed Ku Klux Klan chapters, and they were able to still be who they are, still to this day.
Yeah, till to this day. Yes. So you have to understand that the Black Panther Party was never Black Panther Party. The reason why the Black Panther Parties bared arms is to protect. It's to protect because we seen it's too many and still going on to this day. Too many lives been taken through police brutality.
Yeah.
And that's been going on since we landed on this land and we came to this land. Too many lives been taken. And guess what? What the justice system do is no justice for the victim Black female and the victim Black male. No, when you so the Black Panther Party, ladies and gentlemen, was created to protect you from police brutality and to protect you from. And this is the reason why they bear arms. It's not because they see white supremacists have to paint the picture of them being a violent tyrant group, communist group, but exactly what J. Edgar Hoover painted Dr. King, how he painted Marcus Garvey, and how he painted the other parties too.
Yeah,
Malcolm X and so forth and so forth. The list goes on. So you have to understand that with white supremacy now, shooting into the Black Panther Party, killing Bobby Hutton. Hello, I have to mention Bobby Hutton too.
Yeah, let's not forget that.
The first young Black Panther Party that was killed. 15 years old, killed. Yeah. And they shot him up, killed him.
Yeah.
Although he had his hands up, his hands was up, he had no clothes on, and they still shot him. And you know what they said? How could you? He had a gun on him. That's why they shot him. Now I don't know what you and me, but if you're naked and your hands are up and you're naked and you're naked as your mother birthed you, and your hands up, what defense do you have? Okay, right. And they still killed young Bobby Hutton. So Fred Hampton mentioned that. He mentioned that, and this movie, they had a lot of speeches that they couldn't show this. They couldn't show all of Fred Hampton's speeches in the movie. I understand that.
Yeah.
But some of the speeches that he said was just to ignite the movement and unite our people, because it's a war against poor people, a war against Black people, a war against poor whites, and a war against Latino, all other ethnic groups. So you have to understand when the police, anytime I will call them race soldiers, anytime, it's still happening to this day. That's why my brethren right here saying go watch American Skin. Still happening to this day. You know, and this is the type of film that is the type of film that I didn't see it yet, but I'm sure it's the type of film that you can impact on, and you can watch it again and again and understand how the system is being run, how the system is being, and how we as people, we don't. You see why sometimes, you know, like we look at George Floyd, you know, Floyd and certain victims like Sandra Bland, and just always looked over and over. This is the reason why. This is one of the reasons why that justice is not being served. Eric Gardner, justice is not being served, and these officers still walk because it's still under the cloud of white supremacy. Yeah. So if you didn't see this movie if you didn't see Judas and the Black Messiah, is a movie that you have to go see, and it's a movie that you can see.
And I encourage, watch the movie, but then also study who Black Panther is and tie up your information and see if it connects. That's how I look at it. You know, it's like I don't just tell people watch the Malcolm X movie. I tell them also learn about Malcolm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't just watch the movie Selma and then not learn Martin. You know what I'm saying? So watch the movie for visual, you know, from a visual perspective, but also study these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the message that we want to convey on this episode. You know what I'm saying? The movie and all that, we're doing. I mean, yeah, we're talking about the movie, we're reviewing it and stuff like that, but we're also trying to make it more important that you study Fred Hampton Jr. and the Black Panther Party.
Right. And big up to Fred Hampton Jr. Daniel Kalayo on the interview on the Breakfast Club said he met Fred Hampton Jr.
Oh, his
That's
son.
Fred Hampton's
his
son. He's 50 years old today. He met him, and he also was able to meet Fred Hampton's wife, mother of Fred Hampton Jr. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so
right.
that and to say that she still was able to speak on it and remember that is amazing.
Right. Study.
And
yes. I meant to say Fred Hampton, the father, but people know what I meant. Study Fred Hampton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Study Fred Hampton. Yeah. And look, and also this is how I learned more about Fred Hampton too. They have a lot of speeches they have a lot of footage on Fred Hampton on YouTube. So if you want to read, you can also look at YouTube, and you can study because you can look at the speeches. You can and also on YouTube you see you see the case of when you see the real live footage, the case with William O'Neill. You see him speaking on YouTube. You also can on YouTube you see Fred Hampton's wife, the woman, Fred Hampton's lady, and also Fred Hampton Jr. speaking, and you'll see him back in the 80s speaking on what happened that day, how the police shot first into the apartment that Fred Hampton was sleeping with all the rest of with some of the people in this chapter, you know, shot right into it. The first person that was killed was Mark Clark because he was standing at the door when the police were coming. He was the one that tried to wake everybody up and said, "Yo, I think we have a visitor. I think somebody's coming." He stood up on the bed. He got up from his bed, looked, and the brother picked up his gun, but he didn't even get a chance to breathe. They shot right through the door.
Yeah. They
shot right through the door, killing him instantly.
Yeah.
Mark Clark. Shot him through the chest, killed him instantly. And there was, remember, ladies and gentlemen, it was 99 bullets that were shot into that apartment.
That's crazy.
I didn't know how.
Yeah, I didn't know how many.
Didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I didn't. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know how his wife didn't die. How and they had some survivors. I didn't know how they didn't even die. 99 bullets, and there was more than one police officer shooting into that apartment. So, and there was 99 bullets in that apartment, pumped in nonstop shooting in that apartment. Fred Hampton, was already, in a sleep. He couldn't get up because O'Neill gave him something to put him to sleep, and he wasn't able to get up. But 99 bullets, I don't know how you survive in that. It's a miracle that his son, Junior, and his mother's and Junior's mother is able to speak on what happened that night. Because, 99 bullets, man. I don't, but I'm glad, but I'm happy that they survived to speak on it, because Lord knows when you're gone, it's always their word. It's always their word against us. So, but the whole thing with the story, there was it in this movie. If you read the caption at the end, they was able to sue. They was able to sue the department, the police department. Now I think the police chief lost his job because they realized because they had to take a white attorney. I forgot his name. The man that was fighting this case, and if you look on YouTube, this white man with a beard, he fight this case, and the case was overturned, and justice was served, because I don't think justice was totally served, because I don't think the police officers lost their job, but the chief was forced to retire. I don't think that's justice served. They should have been put in jail, because that's an assassination. That's an assassination. Because to literally just shooting somebody's apartment without even using, they saying hello, and you're not saying, and they're not, they had, they know people is in there, and they just started spraying the apartment up. Bam, 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 bam. And no, we have a warrant. Then it's like, come on out. You shot up the apartment with 9 bullets. Why are you saying come on out now?
Yeah, well, that's the blatant disrespect and disregard, and their excuse is, they felt that they coined the Black Panthers as a terrorist organization, but didn't coin the KKK, and then tried to say in that movie and in real life that the KKK and the Black Panthers are the same. Ain't nowhere on God's planet that they are the and this is the lie that they tell our young kids and everybody else. Let's go into more of that. So
let's study.
So there was a group called the Deacons of Defense who were before the Black Panthers. The Deacons of Defense were created because of the church bombings and the overall terrorist massacres that the Ku Klux Klan were doing from neighborhood to neighborhood, from city to city. They were created to combat them. And these were people who were in the church. I mean, shoot, I wish the church was this bold now. This brave. Nah, for real, the black church back then wasn't playing back then. They got tired of that mess and picked up their guns. You know what I'm saying? Once upon a time, the black church was a place of refuge for black people during the early civil rights era. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, and even before the civil rights era, in terms of certain things. You know what I mean? So they were church bombings and lynchings and hangings. Where in Black Panther history do they have that? I'll wait.
Right. Exactly.
There is none.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
So they're not the same.
Exactly.
But this is how white supremacy justifies the KKK being in existence and not being eradicated, because they'll say, "Oh, well, what about the Black Panthers? What about them? What about them?
Yeah, what about them? Yeah. What about them?
You're a white supremacist when you can actually when people bring up the Ku Klux Klan and their history of murder, death, kill, and the fact that they're still around, and then they deflect and say, "What about this group?" You know, you're a white supremacist when you protect that. Have you ever heard Zacchaeus? Have you ever heard somebody talk about how bad the Nazis are, and then somebody deflects and says, "Oh, yeah, the Nazis was terrible, but what about so and so?" Excuse me?
Exactly.
I've never heard when somebody tears down the Nazis and then somebody replies with, "Yeah, they were bad, but." No, there is no but when it comes to the Nazis.
Exactly.
Keep that same energy with the Klan. There is no but with the Klan. Oh, the Klan was bad, but no, because you don't do that with you don't do that with Nazi Germany.
Exactly.
So since you don't do that with Nazi Germany, keep that same energy with the Ku Klux Klan.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You know it's bad. Yo, I'm telling you right now. Can you imagine if people do not understand this. I didn't want to go here, but you have to treat the Ku Klux Klan like the Nazis in this sense. Do you know that to this day, America, with the help of many countries, help Israel still find ex-Nazi soldiers that worked on the ghettos and the gas chambers and the camps and stuff like that? Do you know that they still track them down?
Wow.
They still do. They keep finding them in other countries like South America and all that. You know what I'm saying? They track them down, which I'm for that, because you're basically getting them for the crimes that they committed historically.
But how about 500 years of crimes committed to black people?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Huh? How about that? I understand that. You know what? Okay,
that's all black. That's all black people are asking for. Hold those accountable for that.
Yes.
Hold the Nazis accountable. Of course, I'm with that. That. But can you hold these people accountable too?
Exactly.
That's all. That's all black people are asking for.
And some of them are still around.
Still around. Some of them are. Some of those people in the Klan are senators and presidents and governors and mayors and police commissioners and teachers and doctors and dentists and bank owners. And when you want to go get a business loan, they'll loan off. They determine whether you get a loan in your business or not. They're everywhere.
Yes, they're everywhere. Yeah. Yeah.
We saw it with that freaking insurrection that happened at the Capitol, where they found out that them people were working for the government that stormed the Capitol. Some idiot had the nerve to wear his freaking government badge, working for Department of what an idiot. He wore it around his neck. They ain't even need face recognition on him. They just zoomed in on that ID and was like, "Yeah, we got him."
Yep. Oh man, he wore it around his neck. Like I said before, still hair. No, they're hair, right?
Yeah, and they have prominent positions all around the world, all across the nation.
They're the elite.
And you let them operate. Yeah. Meanwhile, you want to track down ex-soldiers of the Nazi military, which is fine. But then you want to, America, you're helping them find them. But America, you got your own mess right here that you're not cleaning up. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is distribute the justice evenly and fairly. Once again, I want to reiterate, because I know some people are going to be like, what the heck? They're going to take what I said out of context. No. What I'm saying is get those who do what they do or done what they done. Get them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All I'm saying is, excuse me, can we please have that same time and effort and empathy and care that we have with making sure that we get all the people who worked on Auschwitz and get them and have them face time for their crimes? Can you have that same empathy and care and energy and consideration when it comes to also getting those who committed crimes upon crimes amongst those of black citizens, native citizens in this nation?
Yeah.
Can you please have that same care with that you can have with this? Can you do that? Because let me tell you something, America, the rest of the world, the moment you tell Israel that you'll no longer help them, that will be the moment. Oh, never mind. I don't want to do that. All right, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. All this COINTELPRO talk. It's getting me fired up. I'm sorry. I was about to say something crazy there. Let me not. Let me not do that.
That's for another show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say before we leave?
No. Those who didn't watch Judas and the Messiah, go watch it. Stream it on HBO Max. Go watch it. Those and those who need to get a more insight of what's going on with the race soldiers, white supremacy race soldiers, watch American Skin. Yeah, I'm about to embark on that too myself. And and just when you look at Fred Hampton, that's what I say. When you look at when you understand, this is giving you an insight of the understand the Panthers, because remember, white supremacy already painted them as terrorists and they blah 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 and they're bad. Yeah. But understand them that they started school lunch. Remember that what I said that earlier on the show. They started the school lunch program. And let me quickly jump into Fred Hampton real quickly. Fred Hampton. Now, what KKK member that united Puerto Ricans, poor whites, and other ethnic groups together? Which name that to me. Email me, fax me, do whatever. No, not fax me, but email me, DM me, and let me know. Let me know. Yeah. Because Fred Hampton did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see people calling Fred Hampton racist. How? How is he racist when he united when his whole thing was to unite all oppressed people in the fashion of the matter of the nature that they were oppressed, no matter what they look like. Right. You know? And the Black Huey and Bobby did the same thing in Oakland because they were able to get people from. They were able to get other groups that helped them. A great documentary by the name of Black Panther Vanguard actually shows the other support that the Black Panthers seeked and had diplomatic peace with other groups. So this is something that the original founders laid that foundation as far as, hey, not only is it us, but it's them. So let's make sure that we're better in numbers. That is something that they stood for. So the Black Panthers were never racist, Right. They just see the word black and get triggered when the reason why they named themselves that was based off the animal itself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's more than just black. It's not Black Panther because it's black people, but they use that just based as a metaphor for what the animal stands for and why they named themselves the Black Panther Party. You know what I'm saying? So, study the history. Don't let somebody tell you that they were this and they were that. Study to show yourself approved, as the Bible says.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. Tell them where they can reach you, man. Your socials. Let them know.
Yeah, you can also reach me at Wayne Zacchaeus Bacchus on Facebook. Also, you can reach me on Instagram, Zacchaeus B73 on Instagram. Also on Twitter, you can reach me at Wayne Bacchus 2 at Twitter. That's Wayne Bacchus 2 at Twitter. God bless. Easy.
All right, y'all can get at me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Fifth General. That is at the Fifth General. All right, we're gonna get up out of here. Season 3, episode 1. We'll see y'all next time. Episode 2 next week. Peace.